What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we've got quite a lot to talk about. We're going to be going over what's happening with Crimson Days for Destiny 2. Bungie actually said a few things about the event, which was pretty interesting. So there's a bunch of new loot rewards and playlists and even activities tying into the raid somehow. We'll also be talking about Season 3 and how that's going to work with events and DLCs with timings. And I've also got an incredibly cool package to show you guys the end of this video. So I guarantee you're going to love it. Make sure you stay tuned to the end, and we'll be looking at what this special package is. So let's begin talking about Crimson Days. Now, I first covered this in a video a few days back, how the event is most likely returning because of some exotics with the Crimson logo on it, and as it turns out, that is the case. The event is coming back for Destiny 2 with some changes. Someone called Ginzor has actually done some digging into the PC files to discover a bunch of items, some quests and characters and all kinds of stuff involved with the Crimson Days event. So all this stuff is data mined from the PC files, not just the public API, which of course is where I first found those 4 exotic ornaments. The difference is that with actual data mining, very smart people like Ginzor can actually go deep into the game and find even more things. So that is where this info comes from. So before we talk about the info itself, Cosmo from Bungie actually replied to this thread and said, the rumors are true, Crimson Days is coming back. It won't be the same as the last time in 2016 when it first came around. We're going to talk about how it's changing in the blog update on Thursday. So they have it officially from Bungie. A very rare thing for one of them to actually reply to a datamine thread like this, but I'm pretty sure the reason he did it is because everyone knows, like I said, Crimson Days was not a very well-liked event. It was not very popular among the community. So I think he replied just to kind of set the record straight and control the message, just so people know it isn't the exact same thing as Destiny 1, which obviously wouldn't go down well if that was the case. So let's talk about the stuff that Ginzor actually posted. So he made this image, which is basically like a collection of all the stuff and icons he found inside the PC files. So you can see this is obviously the Crimson Doubles logo, the actual Crucible playlist. You can see it's going to be 2v2. You can see the 2 swords right there. Now, the one below it appears to be, I'm pretty sure, a PvE kind of icon. The same thing you'd see inside the director on one of the locations. So I'm pretty sure this could be a mission or a quest, but it definitely seems to be a PvE related icon, which does make a lot of sense because obviously the first time it came around, there was basically nothing for you to do if you didn't play Crucible. There was only a doubles mode. So now I can definitely imagine some kind of PvE element, and this appears to be that. Now, the top one is pretty interesting. I'm not really too sure what this is, but Ginzor believes it could be something to do with the raid. Obviously, it does look very much like a raid icon, but there's also mention of some kind of mode called Sudden Death. So it does kind of match the icon. Maybe this thing is called Sudden Death. We don't know what it is, but as Ginzor pointed out, it could very well be tied to the raid. Now, the 4 icons on the bottom are obviously Crucible medals, so the things that pop up when you do certain things inside the Crimson Doubles mode, and these be tied to that. There's also an emblem you can see here, the actual banner and the emblem itself, some kind of quest icon, an exotic emote, as you can see it's holographic, just without a yellow backing, and also 2 Eververse packages. So these are obviously going to be the kind of Dawning themed engrams, but for Crimson Days instead. So let's talk about the characters and quests involved with this. So obviously the most fan-favored character in the entire tower, Tess Everest, is involved. Guardians honor the unbreakable bonds they forge on and off the battlefield, competing in the Crucible's Crimson Days Festival. First, follow those rose petals in the tower to Tess Everest. She has something for you. Speak to Tess Everest and claim your first free Crimson Days engram, so pretty similar to the Dawning. Now, for the Crucible part, the doubles mode, of course, you're going to go to Shax. He's going to give some quests and milestones. And for the PvE element, it seems that Tara Khan is actually going to be the vendor. So finally, she's going to have something to do in the game. She's going to serve a purpose. She's going to be the main PvE quest giver for Crimson Days. And I guess she's going to set you quests and milestones similar to how Shax does for the Crucible. Now, in terms of rewards that you might be able to earn inside the event, so Ginzor made this image, which is basically a compilation of a bunch of stuff and icons he found that may correspond to the event. It is worth noting not all these items are actually related to Crimson Days. Some of them are actually old and don't correspond to it at all. So that box on the left is obviously Hawthorne's gift from the Dawning, and the one on the right is Shax's one. There's also the Reef in Ruins Telesto ornament, which of course is already in the game, so that's obviously not related to it. Just the 4 ones, which we covered before, and also that box with the Osiris Eye on it. Not sure if that's in the game right now, but I don't think that's related to the Crimson Days either. There's obviously a bunch of those Eververse box packages and engrams. There's also Sparrows and Ghosts, which don't look that great in my opinion. There's the Prism ornament for Prometheus Lens. There's the Corinna Nebula for Graviton Lance. There's Go About Your Business for the Sweet Business, and of course Diesel Punk for the Wardcliff Coil. So those are the ornaments we've seen so far. There are 2 shaders which are definitely related to the event, and also a very strange looking box, which again, I'm not sure if that is actually related to Crimson Days. I mean, it kind of looks like a quest item or something you'd find in a campaign you give to a vendor, but let me know in the comments if you've seen this item before. But those are a bunch of items that Ginzor found inside the database, most of which obviously applying to Crimson Days. So it's going to be interesting to see how this event differs to what we can see right here and how Bungie plan on improving it. Obviously, just looking at the stuff right here, it looks exactly the same as the first one, and it doesn't look too exciting in my opinion. So I think if they were to launch Crimson Days as it appears right now, it would not go down too well. Probably even worse than Destiny 1's version, to be honest. I think the saving feature of the Dawning was definitely Mayhem. Apart from the annoying Novomb glitch, I don't know a single person who didn't love Mayhem. So doubles elimination just doesn't excite me too much, to be honest. I don't think many people would be either. I think more importantly, the changes to Eververse are going to be very telling. Crimson Days is going to be around early February because, of course, it's based off Valentine's Day. So it's basically going to be the first live event with Bungie's changes to Eververse, which we know is happening. So everything is very much in the air right now. I think Bungie are well aware that launching Crimson Days in its current state as the same as Destiny 1 just would not go down well. So nobody really knows what the event is going to look like because there are some big changes on the way with that January update. So we'll have to wait and see what Bungie say about this on Thursday. And of course, I'll have a video summarizing that. So stay tuned on this channel for more info. So moving on, the next thing I wanted to quickly discuss was seasons and timings of how things are supposed to work, mainly for DLCs and events and content. This is something quite a few of you have been asking me. It wasn't publicized very much, but Bungie did actually lay out a very rough outline of how this stuff is supposed to happen. So as of right now, seasons are supposed to last around 3 months. That is the current plan, but that could have changed. Now in theory, that should mean season 2, which we're currently in, ends around late February, early March. We also know that Bungie do plan on having either a DLC or a large live event to kick off the season, so seeing as Crimson Days will be early February and most likely a week long, it definitely won't be the beginning of Season 3. Now another conclusion you can come to with this is that the second DLC should be launching around March time if they're still on track with their plans and Season 3 begins then. We still have no idea when the official date is, but going off what Bungie said about seasons, that should be the plan. Now the reason I say this should be the plan is because obviously a lot has changed since they first announced this stuff. Mainly the fact they are kind of overhauling the game right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if things don't end up going to plan. A lot of the community has been suggesting that they delay the second expansion so they can have more development time and basically make it better than Curse of Osiris was, so they could very well listen to that. I think a lot of people know that content isn't really the problem with Destiny 2, it's mainly the end game and quality of life. I think a lot more can be done with updates than DLCs. We don't really need a ton more content, we just need better ways to play the content we already have. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if Bungie plan a lot more patches like the December update and kind of push back the second DLC until they can put the game in a much better state to actually receive the new content. Now, the counter to this is that Bungie do, of course, have to meet certain deadlines when it comes to financial quarters. So it may be the case where they have to release something before the end of March to meet that first quarter. And there are a lot of behind-the-scenes things like that that may be the case. So again, it's all very much up in the air. But I did want to point out, in theory, Season 2 should be ending towards the end of next month. So unless Bungie decide to push things back and allow for more development time, the Crimson Days is basically a halfway point. That's the easiest way to think of it. But definitely something to bear in mind. And of course, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments if you think Season 3 is still going to plan, and if you think they haven't pushed things back to delay things for more development time. So next up, I want to show you guys hands down one of the coolest things I have ever been sent, and it's been a long time coming, but this is my brand new custom built PC. So as you can see, it's actually themed off my channel with the lion logo on the front there and the blue color schemes I have on my art. But this was actually sent to me by the guys over at Nvidia, so obviously need to give a huge thanks to those guys. I've been working with them here and there for a lot of 2017, and they knew how old my PC was and wanted to build me this absolute beast, which I finally received a few days ago. So I'm still setting things up, and this is actually the very first video I'm recording on it, so I can actually make the videos even high quality and longer without the fear of it crashing like my old computer normally would. But I'm just so happy to finally have a new computer. So like I said, Nvidia organized this whole thing, but the company that actually made it are called Parvum Systems, as you can see on the front, and they obviously did an amazing job thanks to Justin there. But they make a lot of completely custom PC builds for people and companies, so I need to give a special thanks to Parvum for actually making this. Obviously, I'll link their website down below in the description if you want to see their crazy PCs. So let's actually talk about what's inside this thing and what the specs are. So it actually has an i9 processor, one of the new ones, the 7900X, which has 10 cores. For video editing, it's an absolute beast of a CPU. Now, the PC being from Nvidia, obviously it's got a graphics card of the GeForce 1080 Ti, but it's a special version because it's actually water-cooled, so that's why it's so slim, because it doesn't have the massive fan on it. It's also got 32 gigs of Corsair RAM at 3000 MHz, which is also very good for video editing. The boot drive is a 1TB M2 SSD, so if you know about M2 drives, you know how ridiculously fast they are. Also, of course, very helpful for transferring and loading a lot of files. Now, the main thing you'll of course notice is how everything is basically liquid cooled, so it's a very custom built PC. And then hands down, the best part of this is of course the reservoir at the front. It's got a window that holds all the liquid that cools the components, and the window for that has my logo, the lion, actually laser etched into it, which is just so incredible. The detail is ridiculous. I've got no idea how it came out so perfect, but it's so well done, and I just love how it looks with the fluid running through it. It looks like a little aquarium almost, but you can of course customize the lights to be anything you wanted. But yeah, this is hands down the coolest thing I've ever been sent from a company, and obviously it wasn't just a random here's a PC. It's been like 6 months in the making, so a lot of work went into this, and it's finally here so I can now show you. And once again, a huge thanks to Nvidia and Parvum Systems who of course built it. I also need to give a special thanks to you guys for always supporting the channel. I know I say it all the time, but I genuinely am so thankful for every one of you that leave nice comments, and those of you with notifications on, that watch and like videos within like 10 seconds of it going up. I only get to work with companies like this because of you guys, so I'll always be thankful. But it's also going to be really good for the channel because it's going to make the process of me making videos so much better. I know a lot of you notice how long I spend editing every one of my videos, which takes mostly the entire day from start to finish, but I was doing that on like a 5 or 6 year old computer, which was so slow and crashed pretty much daily. So this thing is so much better to work with, and I can make the videos even higher quality now. So I'm still setting things up and installing everything, which does take a lot of time, but look out for some really cool videos coming soon. As always, if you enjoyed this video, then a like rating down below would be much appreciated. Of course, the huge Bungie update post is coming on Thursday, so I'll be breaking that down and summarizing that. Definitely make sure you are subscribed if you aren't already. Until then, you can click the image on screen right now to watch a recent Destiny 2 video I just made, and I'll see you guys next one.